What's up, everybody? It is the technical analysis dog and me. What is up? It is Monday, November 4th, 2024, election eve. Low volume today in the market. We'll take a look at what went down. Pretty sideways action. We'll take a look at the charts. Brazil was a big factor today, a big rebound, although they've been, pummeled the last week. A big drop in rates today. Let's see what it looks like in the charts going forward. And energy, a good rally today. I'm glad I exited my Schlumberger puts for a profit on Friday. Energy had a nice rally today, and volatility slides 4%. Remember in the videos, I've been saying that looking for a bit of a vol increase and then a big crush. Today was actually down 4%. We'll take a look at the VXX chart, which is notable. We'll take a look. Obviously, tomorrow, election day in the United States. Two big risk events this week. Tomorrow, obviously, election day. We'll see when that all settles. And then Wednesday, the Fed. And they're very likely, I think it's 99% priced in the 25 basis point cut. So I think you're going to see a big crush in the VIX by Friday's close, a big one, barring some, like we've been saying, calamity. So first off, let me share the screen here and get you tuned into today in case you were missing. We'll tell you what you missed today. So nice little graphic here. If you didn't know your geography, that is the Brazil flag there. And here you go. Trading trends November 4th, 2024. Brazil up 3%. So a big reversal from last week where it was getting pummeled. Bonds really rallied. We'll take a look at the TLT, which flew today. And energy also had a nice rally while volatility slides 4%. That's my name. We'll get into the all the charts and what's been leading in the past week. Also, I don't know if you know this. If you can see that, it's my Eagles hoodie. Saquon defied gravity basically yesterday with a reverse hurdle. And I do think that's what's going to happen with the market into end of year. I think you're going to have a gravity defying march towards 6,000 in the S&P, which is not that far away. But yeah, what a hurdle. He is just a ridiculous human being. All right, so let us go into the intraday chart first. Boopity, 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 bop. And we are back on just a programming note. I'm back on the cadence of Monday, Wednesday, Friday is what I'm going to try to do here. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 4:15 p.m. or so. You should find me right here. So I don't want to look like an idiot to your manager, your clients. You can come in here. I'll tell you what's happening in the day, get you all caught up on fixed income, rates, commodities, equities, everything besides crack addict single stocks. All right, so here is the intraday chart. It started over here as your first bar. We bottomed at 12 o'clock. Really, it traded decently until 11 a.m. And then we bottomed at noon and then really could not hold VWAP the entire day. Indices mostly were negative. SPY down 20 bips. The Dow was off by 55. The Qs were off by 30. IWM was up 50 basis points, though, and the VIX was down 4%. To me, that's the true tell that was overall a bullish day. I see this as bullish. So zooming out, though, because it's important, we've been talking about the the distribution phase ending on or around November 6th. And I've been saying for a long time, for about 2 weeks now, that the market should be right around 576. But probably if it goes a little bit further down, my worst target would be 565. And we're exactly at 570 right here. So smack dab in the middle. And I said this about October 20th. You can check the tapes. So all that being said, whoops. Chair deflated. So all that being said, seeing a distribution day ending. Like I said, you're going to see a vol crush towards the end of the week, especially after the Fed, after the press conference from Powell. You're going to see, I think, a different market on Thursday, Friday. We'll base around 576, which is right around this right here in the cursor. It might get a little zigzag. Obviously, tomorrow's a volatile event, and we're not going to know much until overnight. So keep an eye on the futures if you must. But I see us basing, worst case here. We actually hit the low today was 568, and then we bounced up a little bit towards 570 for the close. All that being said, my next target, obviously want to see where we go by Friday, but this is leading me. I'm I'm doing this 3 steps ahead, but if my distribution phase ended, it's not this mechanical and arithmetic, religious. It's not this easy, but if you're looking at the map, the way I would do it is around the 21st or so of November on or around. You're looking around 590 for SPY. which would be about 5,900 for the SPX, which would be a new all-time high, breaking our highs from October 17th. I do think that comes about a month after October 17th. So that's all I'm saying for the cards here. This was absolutely in the cards in terms of a consolidation after that. I have it for my date, October 22nd is when I have the accumulation date ending, and then a healthy 2-week digestion, and then onwards and upwards we go, especially as you get into November and December. There's going to be a lot of chasing, I think, as there is usually. All right, so let us get into the trades that moved markets today. All right, so Brazil, we would highlight this on Friday. Brazil's been absolutely gotten the crap kicked out of it as of recently, with the bottom coming in last August, but it has not been trading well. A big day today, up 2.9%, a multiple sigma mover, but really a bad instrument here. It had a war with itself in March, April, and then really there's no reason to be long, really no reason to be long this name after April. So you're going 7 months now into a trend that's demonstrably lower. Today you have a nice candle here. There's a conflation of meaningful data points here at 28.25. You're about 45 cents or about 1.5% away. I still don't love this one. I think this is in distribution mode. I would be a seller than buyer. I think this heads back towards 27.30, but brace yourself. Whoops, would help if I got that big box away. But it would help if, obviously there's a lot of volatility this week. So I'm better seller than buyer in this name. There's just a lot of other better areas in the market. All right, but it did have a big March today. Also, a big mover today, TLT, or the bonds, your TLH, your TLT, 10 years, 20 years, all along that part of the curve, rates dropped. Okay, so let's take a look at the chart here. So TLT just trading it technically, really not trading well, looks sick ever since October 9th. Right around here, October 10th. I mean, here is really, it hasn't come up for air yet against that. So I'll give you that October 16th print. So October 17th here, I give it about a month or so, about 4 to 6 weeks after that. So I mean, you'd want to see TLT reclaim that 94.10 level by, end of November. I would say by Thanksgiving. I like this one in accumulation mode. I think this is going to rise towards 93.5. I don't think it gets to that 200-day moving average. I think we're in a different state, and we'll obviously see what happens on Wednesday with the Fed, if and when they cut 25 bips and what happens to this part of the curve. But I don't think it gets above this 200-day moving average on the rally. If it does, it potentially does what it did here on October 16th, comes up for air and then goes lower. All that being said, so what do we mean? What does this mean for the markets, or specifically for interest rates, right? So October 17th, the market has, or TLT specifically, has broken down under its 200-day moving average, the likes of which it hasn't done this length since May. In terms of consecutive closes under the 200-day moving average, again, the bonds underperforming, selling off, meaning rates are rising. So we'll see what happens. Fed cut in September, and then we've been, rates have essentially been going higher ever since. Here is actually the Fed cut. So they cut rates, and look what happened to, perversely in this chart. But this was the 20 years. So rates have gone up, nothing but gone up since. So markets are funky like that. All right, but I like this one accumulation mode. I think it marches towards 93.5, potentially 94. The 200-day moving average is stuck at 93.88 to be exact. All right, and the XLE energy, a big day today. XOP was up big. The entire energy complex, essentially. Excuse me. So this was up 1.8% today. I had a feeling by reading the charts that this was potentially going to happen, so I wanted to exit my Schlumberger puts on Friday, and I'm thankful I did. Like I said, that group was up. Yeah, I like this this group for the next 2 weeks or so. I don't think it has a massive rally, but I think this makes a fight towards 91. The 200-day moving average is ever so slightly inclining, and the 200-day is stuck at 90.10. So we'll see. It's very close to that. I do think it breaches. I think it goes above that and makes a push towards about 91 over the next 2 or 3 weeks. So Not the best place to be out of everything, but like I said, energy doesn't look too bad. We talked about bonds. I think the TLT is going to rally, but again, there's a Fed meeting, and Brazil is just a hot mess. All right, so those were the three big movers today. EWZ got up 3%, bonds up 1.5% through the TLT lens, and XLE up 1.7%. All right. Big movers down. This one's Hertz. India down 1%. Let's take a look at this chart. This is not, giving warm fuzzy. So the top was here is September 26th. Let's pull it up. So India today down almost 1%, down 95 bips. The chart does not look great, but it's still holding the 200-day moving average. It's not oversold over here. Well, we're at a 29. RSI, anything under 30, is technically oversold. The 25th, however, we did print a 28 RSI. Technically, you want to see confirmation, meaning lower price, lower RSI. You technically didn't get that, but it's very close. It's almost like splitting hairs. All that being said, though, it's not behavior I like to see out of look at this chart, a rising 200-day moving average. It's starting to steady a little bit, but it is still inclined, 54.13, and that is where your support is. It's 20 cents away. You got very close today. I think it bases right around here. My level of support on this, in a calculated fashion, if you will, from a lower Bollinger Band is right around 55 nickel. Obviously, it's below that as of right now. I think you get a pop in this over the next 2 to 3 weeks. It may take a little bit longer. The sentiment has changed in here. It hasn't been trading great ever since right after the highs. And the way I can quantitatively say that is it hasn't been pressing or holding above a 50 RSI, meaning where it's trading in its range historically. And the past 1 month as a look back that I have. So the high came in on September 26th. 3 days later, this was trading below the 50-day moving average and shorter term moving averages. So it's rolling over here. I do think this holds. It has not gotten this close to its 200-day moving average in quite a while, all year. So this would be your time to get India on sale, but you're taking a little bit of a flyer right now, just in that it has lost momentum. It reminds me of some other nation ETFs that have just lost fire. So we'll see. I think at bottom two, I don't think your risk is obviously terrible to the downside. I think you're actually nice. I'll just tell you right here, risk reward up down. I mean, like I said, the support to me is at 54. I think this can bounce to 56 fairly quickly. So it's like half a point down in terms of risk and 2 whole points up. So usually you take that trade. And of course, you can leverage even more in options in terms of if you want to do a January 55, 60 call spread, something like that. So I'm long the December's, full disclosure. I think they're the 52s or something like that. I bought them a while ago. So yeah, it is what it is on India. I like the group overall. If you had to be picking a position, but this is a tough one. I do think this holds, so the 200-day moving average. So your downside, I believe, is minimal. All right, the utilities, obviously, rates got slammed today, so utilities typically move with that. Utilities got slammed down 1.2%, and that is quite a move for the Utes. So what are we thinking here? This should be somewhat of a similar read or interpretation of what we did with TLT. But so this kind of similar to what we were just talking about India, you don't really get closures underneath the 200-day moving or underneath the Bollinger Band for a lower vol asset. India moves slow, Utes move slow, and here it is. So a pretty ugly candle. I'd rather be a seller than buyer this one, but almost similar in terms of India. Just to juxtapose again how the risk to me and the downside, there wasn't much there. It was more upside. Here, I'm going to get rid of that box. This very similar. So I see this. I'd rather be a seller of this one. So inverse of what I said on India, but I like this down to about 77. So not much meat on the bone here. Maybe another 30, 20 cents or so, and that's about it. But this looks to be in distribution mode for another week or so. Not giving me warm fuzzies. Okay, and then volatility. Interesting move today. Of course, tomorrow's election day in the United States. We're anticipating a vol, ramp up. Vol is actually down 4% today. Some of the movement in the market today came from, Buffett's comments over the weekend, selling some of his Apple stake, and it wore down on some of the financials today. And then you had the rates move, of course. But volatility it's interesting what we're going to see, what we've seen. I do the same thing, very similar accumulation distribution. I had this getting towards 60. I'm very curious if that Halloween peak of 58 is all that we get. We'll see. I think something maybe has to go wrong tomorrow for us to see this get to 60. It's kind of surprising, to be very frank, that we saw this down 4% today. I did not expect that. Volume was also very anemic. We'll see. Curious to see what happens tomorrow because, volatility, obviously it's the pricing of S&P calls and puts, a month out, but also it's the fear gauge is what they call it. And tomorrow we have an uncertain event. It's I think if you check Vegas odds, it's a toss up. I think it's Trump very small favorite to win in terms of Vegas betting odds right now. I think he's minus 130 and Harris is plus 150. It's very close, but he is barely projected to win. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with volatility tomorrow, but a big loser today. All right, top 3 losers of the past 5 days, no repeats in charts. So obviously this is today plus 4 days of last week. Kind of unexpected here. Top 3 gainers of the past 5 days. The number 1 gainer on the long side, oil. Okay, so oil's up 5.5%. Today was much of it. Today was 3.1%. Let's take a look. So similar to what I said on the XLA, I like this group. This is going to have a bit of a roadblock at that 200-day moving average. It's got to hold over that level first, that 75.30. That's going to be important. And then I don't see it doing a ton more after that, maybe 76. But that's about it. I'd rather be a buyer if it gets really gung-ho, 79, but I don't think it's going to happen. This was on the missile reports, with Israel. So I don't think we get to 79 all that way, but potentially 77, the top of the band. So another, $3 or so from here. But I like this for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Hence why I exited my Schlumberger puts on Friday. Okay, second best gainer of the past 5 days. It's volatility, up 4%. We just looked at the chart, so not doing that. Actually, I'll just pull up really fast. So the only other thing I want to mention was, like I said, I saw this getting to very close to 60 on or around, by the end of the week, 5th, 6th. I had it. Today is Monday. So I had about Wednesday, right around the election. I had this from like 2-3 weeks ago. We were going to close right around 60 and then dip off to about 53. And then later on, you'd get a crush towards 48. So we'll see what happens today. Like I said, pretty surprising 4% flush today. And then the last one, this is some people call this the Harris trade, TAN. So this is solar. Democrats have a lot of initiatives and things with renewables. So here is the solar chart. TAN, it's up 3% over the past 5 days. Yes, much of it was today. So let's take a look at the chart. This one was, interesting for this past year, that when you get to 200 moving average, it's just like a crash dummy would know to sell. So this is, had a nice run off the bottom. The bottom literally is October 21st when it hit a 52-week low. You can't say that for many spots in the market. It hit a low of, I'm going to round, but 37. And now it's popped up to 41, a nice 10% rally. My target to the upside here was getting very close to the 200-day moving average. So 41.70 to about 42.30. Split the difference right around 42. Not a bad looking candle here with this, with this hammer. We're at 41.09 or 41.08. But very, very possibly. Obviously, if she wins, it'll be interesting to see if the 200-day moving average, it still gives you that crash dummy signal. I would probably do it. It could obviously stretch above it by about 1% or so. But yeah, if Harris is declared winner, you probably see this get to 46. If she's declared not the winner, you might see this probably get towards 39 to 30, bearish scenario 36. So this one's in play. All right, top 3 losers of the past 5 days. I will pat myself on the back on this one in a strange way. So BITO, a lot of people thought the new all-time highs were coming. I thought it was going to fall just shy, and that's what happened. I'm looking at the BITO chart for now. We'll get to the BTC. But obviously it's very close. Just a relative strength sell here. I did not think that was all that it was on the 29th, which is when we peaked in Bitcoin. It was getting very close, within $250 of the all-time high struck back in March. It's almost as if the algos knew and they struck it down. specifically for this BITO ETF. Yeah, obviously, again, ramifications. Should Trump apparently is the Bitcoin president. If he does win, you could see the spike. But as charts usually don't lead me astray, if I'm just looking at this chart, which got me the right way on the Bitcoin not breaking the new all-time high in terms of a short-term target. This looks to be in distribution mode. I think this bottoms around 1720. So that is a 85 cents reduction from here. So about 5% or so. So not great. We'll see what happens with this. But BITO overall, don't love it here. That was a nice rally that it had, and pretty much as we forecasted, and that was it. If we must, I will pull up the BTC, USG, USD. So yeah, like I said, so 5% drawdown on this would be about $3,000 or so. Probably take you right to that moving average, right around here, around 64 to 50-day moving average, sitting around 65K. So we'll see. This is probably going to be a very interesting asset to look at tomorrow, any day, all day. Ballots are coming in. People are probably going to look at Bitcoin up, down, just to see the exuberance of the market, and you could tell read on volatility through. All right, so Bitcoin, though, the biggest loser in the past week. So if I know I had a friend text me, is the market sniffing out a Harris victory or a Trump victory, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, maybe not. I don't think so. We've had that, anecdotal stuff for a while. So we'll see. The financials were down big today. Trump apparently, hates bonds, and yet, bonds, sold off hard today. Or, I'm sorry, bonds ripped today, which is in the face of that. So I wouldn't make too much of that. There's a lot of stuff in the crosshairs. All right, the other one, I have a note on here. Literally, I have buy uranium November 5th. Uranium here is the second biggest loser of the past 5 days. Let's take a look if the chart is getting much closer to a setup. Obviously, like I said, I wrote it for tomorrow. I'll give you a live update right now. Do I buy this tomorrow before the close? Because you got to be careful, obviously, when the market at 359 tomorrow is not going to be the same one at 931 on Wednesday. And then we have the Fed on Wednesday. So there's a lot of macro events happening, obviously. So yeah, uranium peaked on October 21st at $34, a quick descent to about $30. Here we are, a decline of 7%. This, I think, needs a little bit more time. I would love personally to have it base right around here, and I pick it up around $29. That's what I'm going to intend to do. So if I get my level on some volatility tomorrow, that would be awesome. I think it doesn't have a ton of momentum right now. The 200 moving average is largely unchanged essentially since mid-July, right around that 29 level. So it's an important figure. I think that base is around 29. My short-term target is 31. So I like this. You can definitely get paid in options with this. I'd probably put on like a January spread depending on the volatility. And then the biggest loser of the past 5 days, it's Bitcoin down 8, uranium right behind it down 7. A lot of people have had those being correlated. And then a little bit behind is utilities down 5%. So, and we already looked at that chart, so I'm not going to pull it up again. But utilities, a big loser today, a big loser on the week. So top 3 absolute trades of the past 5 days. If you had short Bitcoin, short uranium, long oil, you're absolutely crushing the market since last Monday in terms of, interpreting whether or not that's Trumpin or Harrison. That's not even a word or whatever. But short Bitcoin, that's obviously in the face of Trump. Short uranium, and then long oil, not really a Democrat thing. So really a lot of crosshairs. I wouldn't make too much of it in terms of what the market's trying to read out tomorrow. We're just a couple of points away from new all-time highs. I think we're, things are looking pretty. If you have your buying shopping list, I would gather it. And I think that is all. No video tomorrow. We will have a wrap up on Wednesday. Who knows what the hell we're talking about then? Probably talking about, of course, Jerome Powell, and then whoever is the new president of the United States potentially. All righty. I hope this was helpful. We will talk to you on Wednesday. Get out there tomorrow and vote. Obviously, if you're in the United States. And if you are not, enjoy the show, I guess, because there's going to be some fireworks, I imagine. All right. Toodaloo. Peace.